Let's get it.
Thank you. And thank you so much for your patience. Appreciate you all coming to our Microsoft 365 Champions community call. This is our one in May. For any sort of event, I'm sure you've seen the slide many times from us, but essentially be kind, be welcoming to everyone here. Alrighty, our agenda today, we have announcements, top Microsoft 365 updates, new updates on AMC brought over by our very own Jessie Hwang, as well as our open discussion forum. Announcements for Microsoft community from Caruana Gatimu. I believe I see her in the audience. She shared an article that you can see in the click here to learn more link on the bottom, but essentially all the keynotes from Microsoft 365 conference that was 2 weeks ago in the beginning of May are uploaded to our Microsoft community learning channel. There's great keynotes by Jeff Teeper and Nicole Hirschwitz did a really good demo that I'm going to refer to later on. There's also Basu that did a security co-pilot demo. And then we also have a marketing demo that was brought on, and we had like Holland America folks and other customers come on to give their testimony on how they use Copilot as well. So again, lots of goodies sprinkled in for the community learning channel, as well as these keynotes that were uploaded. Make sure you check out that, as well as the article that Caruana wrote. Alrighty, again, it must be conference season because right after that, we had Microsoft Build, which is last week. There's tons and tons of different announcements, and Satya was on stage, as well as many others. There was a lot of product announcements as well, especially for developers. Our very own Jessie, as well as Heather Cook, they were there, part of the community, also giving sessions on adoption.microsoft.com. If you wanted to learn more on what was announced at Build and etc., you can feel free to click on that link in my slide to access the official Build Book of News 2025. Alrighty, Customer Hub. Customer Hub is going and in session, and if you are able to attend, you can also attend our Customer Hub sessions that are live. We also do the same recording of those live sessions, and they're available on demand. But essentially, Customer Hub is on various topics, but today I just highlighted the Microsoft 365 Copilot webinars as part of Customer Hub. Essentially, you can do these instructor-led trainings on Copilot on prompting, and perhaps building your own Copilot Studio. So definitely check out the Customer Hub for your most interested sessions. They're free, and you can also view them on demand as well. Alrighty, Jessie, when you're ready, we can bring you on for adoptionmicrosoft.com updates.
Hi, everyone. So a lot has happened since the last time we chatted. Obviously, M365 Community Conference and Build happened. So for those two events, adoption@microsoft.com, or as we call it, AMC, because we love our acronyms, AMC has released a lot of updates. And I actually will be going through these updates a little bit later. But real quick here, some of the new content. We have redesigned the entire Microsoft 365 Copilot Hub, and it now has Copilot chat and agents separated out. So there are 3 tabs now you see on that same link. And so that's very exciting. I'll dive into the AI Agents Hub a little bit later, again, like I said, but this is a cross-organizational effort, this new AI Agents Hub. And I don't know how many of these that we've done. And to be honest, I know we're not very good at these cross-organizational things just because the company is so big. But this is very exciting. We've got the Microsoft 365 Copilot folks, Copilot Studio, Azure AI Foundry. We've got stakeholders, content owners from all 3 work streams coming together and contributing to this new AI Agents Hub. So that's been launched. The Microsoft Scenario Library, you'll notice, has also been renamed and redesigned. The look and feel now matches the new Copilot Hub, but we took out the word Copilot from the title because, and I can say this now, it's not under NDA anymore, but we will be bringing in more scenarios outside of modern work, outside of M365. So that's coming soon too. As part of this, all this revamp work, we have new Copilot chat and agent resources for the Copilot SMB page. There's a link there. And as Tiffany mentioned, there's a whole bunch of updates to Customer Hub. And in fact, we make updates to Customer Hub every single week. Either it is new upcoming sessions getting published or previous sessions now available on demand. So check back every week. There's always something there. We also have a new generative AI playbook for CIOs on the Leading in the Era of AI page. So check it out. It's really neat. It just came out, and this is specifically targeted for the leadership team in IT. So your CIOs or perhaps a step down. So this is a new playbook that's out there. Take a look. Let us know what you think. Would love to get your feedback on that. Lastly, we have a new Get Stuff Done video campaign that just launched. Our team is doing this. We call it GSD. Of course, the S sometimes stands for something else. But take a look at that link. If you have any, these are short video formats. If you have an idea, go ahead and submit it. Let us know what you're doing to get stuff done in your everyday life. And last but not least, of course, our Microsoft 365 Community Conference resources page. So if you had attended or you have attended before, we use the Whova app for that event. And the Whova app does have the presentations in there in PDF form. However, we know PowerPoint is so much more useful. And so we've actually taken all the PowerPoints and published them on this specific site, on this separate page for everyone. As always, you can subscribe to our release notes in RSS form or just check that link there. All right, Tiffany, back to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jessie. Appreciate it. And we'll see Jessie a little late in a couple minutes. Alrighty. So for our top Microsoft 365 updates. So I am a fan of practical updates. Like I know we have all these things that we can do at Microsoft, but I know a lot of you, when I actually met you at Microsoft 365 conference. Oh yeah, by the way, thank you so much for any of you that came to the Champions meetup, met up with us. It's just the best thing in the world. I mean, yes, these meetings are great. And I love speaking with y'all and interacting with y'all here, but whenever you actually come find us at conferences and tell us about what you use our champions meetings and PowerPoints and recordings for, it is just the best thing. So again, if you ever see us at a conference or even just I don't know, you're visiting Seattle and see us on the street, I love to meet champions in real life. All right. Okay. So back to practical updates. Within Microsoft 365 Copilot, as I was writing my trip report for the conferences that I was just at, I a lot of times had to just email myself the picture or download it and then re-upload it to get on my work computer for receipts and etc. Right. So now within Copilot, and of course I use Copilot and use it too for your trip report, so you don't have to do a lot from scratch. So yes, as I was using Copilot, I was like, ooh, what is this new feature of being able to upload from phone? So yes, do want to point out that you're able to upload images onto Copilot with your phone, and so this can do more than just, doing trip reports, right? You can do much more of while you're creating your own Word document and PowerPoint, et cetera, you're able to do so. So make sure you click on that link to learn more about that update. Alrighty, as next on, again, another Copilot update, but I do want to mention that new in May, we have the Create in the Microsoft 365 Copilot app. So last week, we started rolling this Create app and Create experience in the Copilot app to Microsoft 365 commercial customers. There's a really great demo by Nicole Hertowitz, and this is part of Jeff Teeper's keynote in the Microsoft 365 conference. She did a really good demo of this Create experience in that keynote, where she basically went in and was a customer and had Copilot basically build a specified brand image of their new sneakers or something. But again, very interesting, cool process. You can change a lot of different things and ask it for specific color schemes, right? So if your company color scheme is royal blue, like I'm wearing today, then you can ask Copilot to create it in that schema or that theme that you would like. Again, super, super cool. So make sure you check out that Create in the Microsoft 365 Copilot app. So more on practical updates. I like Loop. I use it as well, but I really like OneNote. And so within OneNote, I do want to mention these enhancements for OneNote for the web. So again, for me, I get a little bit like annoyed when like the source formatting changes on me a lot. I mean, again, just saving myself steps. Now you're able to do the triple click select. There's a cool new feature called the paste floaty, essentially just being able to even quicker choose your formatting if you want. There's improved table operation, improving enhancements. You can see the GIF right here. Hopefully you can see that. That's the image of the pasty floaty. And so paste floaty. And so you can click on that link to learn more about what these enhancements for OneNote are. But again, love using OneNote on for my iPad as well as on my desktop. All right. So next, Microsoft Teams update, and this is my last one before I bring Jessie back on. We have interactive agents for Teams meetings, calls, and this is available in public preview. Essentially, you can basically invite AI-powered agents like the ones that you build in Copilot Studio or available in the Teams store into my Teams meetings and calls, and they can join either like a group conversation call or a private call. For me, I really like it when they help me take notes so I don't have to take notes. A lot of times if I'm getting like a blast of information from either like with my manager or from Josh or whomever I'm meeting with, it's definitely much better that Copilot can hear all this information or these directions that they're telling me instead of me previously taking notes on the side. So again, really appreciate that. And that's just one of the ways I use it for. But make sure you click on that link to learn more about the other ways that you can use agents. Alrighty, without further ado, I'm going to bring Jessie back on to talk to us about AMC and AMC updates.
You can't see it, but there's so many buttons I have to click on the back end. Hi, everyone.
Yeah.
I'm going to take control here because I actually also have a demo. Awesome. So let me start at the beginning a little bit. If you don't know who I am, I'm Jessie Hwang. I work on Caruana Katimu's team. She's out there. Hi, boss. I'm on the same team as Tiffany and Josh here. And I am the content manager for all of adoption.microsoft.com. And adoption.microsoft.com, see, this is why we need acronyms. I trip over my own tongue. We call it AMC for short. So AMC has been around since 2017, actually since before I joined the team. So this is very exciting. When I joined, I kind of took over. In 2017, and Caruana, chime in if I'm incorrect, if I don't get the history right, but it started as really a single page of like, I don't know, I think it was like 24 links, something like that, because there was a need to aggregate the resources in one single location, not just for internal folks, but especially for external guests, for our customers, for our field, for our MVPs. So that's how it started. And through the years, you can see on this slide, through the years, it's definitely evolved. It's gotten a lot prettier. But we've now become really the landing page, your one-stop shop for not just adoption resources, enablement resources, but also implementation, deployment, learning, training, events. We really have become, are positioning ourselves to be that one-stop shop for any role to come and find information. And so I'm gonna, with this evolution, we have made a huge jump in this evolution this year. And so I'm gonna do a demo and show off the new stuff. But real quick, the first thing I want to talk about is this new microsite model that we just launched. We timed it with the same timing in April as the Copilot Wave 2 spring announcements. So this new microsite model, you'll see it on adoption.microsoft.com/Copilot. That's the Copilot Enablement Hub. We've streamlined the UI. We made it simple, more simple, and hopefully easier to find stuff. You tell me, Ashley, if it is easier. We think it is. But on that page now, you'll see there's a choose your product filter. And let me add an asterisk in there. The Copilot Hub is probably the most complex page and site that we've built across all of AMC. Other product pages are a little bit more simpler because there's just usually just one version of the product. But on the Copilot Hub, we have Copilot, we have Copilot Chat, then we have M365 Copilot, which is the paid license, and then we have agents, and that's a whole nother experience that I'll get into. So on this page, you'll see there's a choose your product filter at the very top, and that dynamically filters the resources underneath so that you see what you the resources relevant to that specific product that you're selecting. We've also condensed some of the sections, the what's new and the community and the learning and the events. That's all now in one section. So without further ado, this is the homepage of adoption@microsoft.com. You'll notice in the URL that it has ENUS at the end. It's because my browser is set to US English. The entire site is translated to 15 different languages right now, and it is AI translation. So it's not, it's really close to, what it should be, but sometimes we run into things that it's not quite perfect. So if you do see a translation on there that looks weird, it's like, oh, that's not how we say it. Shoot us a chat, send us an email, or send us a message in the tech community. That's actually probably the best way. And we can always override that. So on here, we go to the products drop down and we come to the Microsoft 365 Copilot. So this is the new hub page. And there's a kind of fancy little animation there. So at the very top, you'll see we still have our hero description at the top. You know what page you're landing on. You know what this page is about. We have our top news at the top. This is the stuff that the most important news announcements that have come out, and probably we'll need to replace that with whatever came out at Build. But down here, we have choose your product here. You see, it lands specifically on Copilot in the middle, but we have Copilot Chat and Agent. So I'm going to click on Copilot Chat, and if you watch the boxes right below it, you'll see that they do change. The resources change. Okay, there is definitely a lag for the meeting. So we have the top resources at the top, find the right tools. So of course we have our success kit and we have the scenario library that I just mentioned a little bit earlier. Down below, we have another picker, and this is where you choose your role. So we had images, icons there before, right? And it was taking up a lot of valuable real estate. So we nixed those. And so we just made it simple, a much more streamlined look. So you pick your role and then the resources below that. So these 4 boxes here will change based on what you select. So this is still the Microsoft 365 implementation framework. It is still across these 3 work streams, these 3 roles that's critical for leadership, user enablement, and technical readiness. And so these resources are what gets manually programmed. We will update them as time goes on. And this is the model that we're snapping all of our product pages to. And you'll see we have a key at the bottom showing you what the priority resources are, what's a download, what's a website, and what's a video. As we continue to go down, this is the collapsed version of the news and events in a community now. So before it was like 3 different sections. So we've combined all of those. This white box here is all the blog articles that's coming that are new. I can say this, it's not under NDA, hopefully Kara will not. Well, I mean, I manage the site, so I should be able to say what I want, right? This is going to become a dynamic box. So we're actually going to use an API to pull in stuff. So it's not, this is not dependent on me going in to update it. But at the bottom, you'll see what's new. If you don't follow the blog already, you should, first of all, because it gets updated all the time. But at the end of every month, there is a what's new in Copilot. And so this is actually a look ahead. If you're familiar with the Teams blog, the what's new blog every month is a look back. What was published, but the Copilot one is a look ahead. So what's coming up, what's getting announced in the next month. So it has a specific tag, so you can actually have a very specific search results for it. So if you click on that, you can catch up on what's coming up and just try to stay ahead of the curve a little bit. Of course, our community, not just here, but also the Copilot community on Tech Community is right here, this click link. And then these are events. So of course, we got to go in and update that. But the events are there highlighted to pull your attention to what is most relevant. Moving down below, we have a quick watch section. Videos were kind of floating in the old model. They didn't really have a home. They just kind of were stuck in between the different sections. So now we have specifically a quick watch. So these are 2 videos that we want to highlight that we think are really valuable. Let's see. Michelle, I see, say the link to changes. Well, the changes are live now. You can always follow our release notes. So if you go to adoption.microsoft.com, you'll see release notes. The what's new is the last menu item, and then you click that, and there's a drop down for release notes. So, but these videos, we hope to be able to actually move these up and make these also dynamically filtered when you select a different role in the different products. At the moment, we don't have nearly as, we haven't implemented that, but that is coming in the future. As we continue to go down, of course, we've got links to the mobile. If you haven't used Copilot on mobile, oh, it's so good. Just go and try it out. It's really fantastic. I use it every day. I do talk to it. It feels a little weird talking to my phone, but it's great. And I use it to do research, and to anytime I have a question, I was like, what other movie has this actor been in? You know, personal life or even work. I just type it in, or I just speak to it, and it's fantastic. The last but not least, we have other Copilot experiences. So these are the other Copilot pages that are across AMC. So this is now our standard microsite model. And I want to take you to the AI agents, so talk a little bit more about this. So if you click on AI agents here at the very top, it should take us to the new AI agents hub. Now this is the brainchild of, like I said, many multiple work streams. We've got the Microsoft 365 team on there. We have Copilot Studio, and we have Azure AI Foundry. I'm going to keep getting that name wrong. So we've got Azure in the mix now too. We've got content owners and resource owners across all of these work streams coming together to create this cross-organizational site that is hopefully pulling in information so that you just have to come to one place to find what you need. So this is definitely targeted more towards our developers, our low-code, pro-code folks, the people that are creating agents. Again, it doesn't have the product tool. It doesn't have the choose your product at the top. We changed it just a little bit. It's down here now. So instead of roles, we have product zones. So we got Microsoft 365, of course, Copilot Studio, and then the boxes will update, and then Azure as well. So those are the three. Now, I wanted to ask a question because I asked this at Build and last week, and I got specific feedback. But in the chat, if you take a look at this, we don't have the resources split out by role. So I want to know, is that useful to have the resources split out by leadership, user enablement, and technical readiness? If you give me a thumbs up or just a yes in the chat, I could go back and grab that. Okay, I'm seeing yeses and thumbs. Okay, great. Well, that just affirms what we've all been saying on our teams. Like, yes, the roles are valuable. Okay, that will come. That will come. Please rest assured. We're getting to it. So this follows the same microsite model where I've got the filtered resources at the top, which we will add the roles in. Thank you for that feedback. And then we have our 2 videos down here. What's new on this one is we have a separate section for just driving adoption. Now, this is not dynamically filtered because what you need to do to drive adoption of new technology and new apps in your org is the same. Doesn't matter what the technology is. The structure of your adoption framework is still the same. So those resources remain the same across each of those product zones. Keep scrolling down. Again, we have a combined version of of the news and events. Now, again, this looks slightly different because instead of individual blog articles, I've got the separate blogs out there instead. So because it's 3 product zones, I've got at least 3 blogs, but there's a new one, AI and machine learning. So that's also relevant for this section as well. Communities, we also have 4 communities. 1 each for the different product zones, but there's a new agent creator community that also just launched. And so that's very specific to creating agents and the process and all that. The events are still manually updated, so that is not dynamic, but that will get updated soon. And that is our new cross-org AI Agents Hub. Now, I know this is kind of a This is a very early version of this. If you've been following us, if you've been around for a while, you know how these change and evolve. And as I mentioned at the very beginning, this entire site has evolved so much over the years. So this is going to get evolved, and we'll continue to update this. And so be sure to follow our release notes or read our newsletters, because we have updates in there as well. Or of course, join this call. You'll find out more. Last thing I wanted to look at real quick, I'm going to actually go back, is I want to show off the scenario library real quick as well. So you'll see the scenario library has also been redesigned, as I mentioned earlier. We have a really nice video at the top now. So the look and feel matches the Copilot, this kind of new, more flowy feel, but it is dramatically simplified the UI. If you recall before, we had a whole left nav of filters, and that's how you navigated the whole thing. It was a very nice but complicated list. So now we've broken it up. It's a lot easier. We see functions and industries at the top. So functions are your departments. We call them functions, but understand that's basically what departments are. You click on here. We got customer service, executive offices. You'll see the boxes below change as you change the filter up top. And then from here, it shows the first scenario in this particular function in this department. And you can click through to look at all the steps here. And it tells you what the steps are to get the job done, what you're trying to do, and then what the benefit is and which app you're actually using this Copilot in. You can click the scenario details here to go into that specific scenario, see all the steps laid out in front of you. I'm going to open that in a new page so I don't lose that. So there it is, human resources, analyze hiring practices. And below, you'll see all the different steps here, all in one page. Now I'm going to go back to this one. You can also click here, see all human resources scenarios. That takes you to another page that shows you all the different scenarios within that specific function. And you can always go back and go back to the landing page. But from here, you can see we also have the KPIs listed out here as well. So I'm going to go back to our main page. Now, that's all functions. Industries is the same. And industries, your vertical, right? Industries here, we also have these filters across the top. Does the same thing. You can click through the steps on this same page, or you can go and look at all of the scenarios. I mean, you can also move through the scenarios using these previous and next buttons here. All right. The downloads are still available here. You can click into the scenario details and you'll see there's a downloads there. So the downloads, we didn't take those away, of course. I know people love those. And we've got a couple of what's next items down at the bottom. Another thing I heard at Build last week that I want to get all of your feedback as well is a couple of folks had mentioned that it would be nice to have a ClickUp scenario talking about architecture and scenarios for that. I think this very specific one, one of the devs that I was talking to brought up was, my data and content is on-prem, but this is all in the cloud. How do I connect the two? And that stumped me. So I'm like, oh, that's a really good scenario. I'm not sure. So if something like that, where it's not specific to a department or a vertical, this is really, like I said, a ClickUp and across all departments and all sectors of an organization, that kind of architectural scenario, would that be useful as well? Thumbs up. As custom agent. Oh, great. Okay. Different scenario. Yeah. Okay. Well, Caroline, that was new feedback I got last week, and I wanted to run it by here too. But obviously, we'll be having that discussion when I'm back from vacation. Okay, great. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for the feedback. All that, and that is my demo. So I'm going to bring the slides back. I'm going to stop sharing there and slides back so Tiffany can close us out.
Hi, everyone. Caruana here. I've been chit-chatting with all of you in the chat. I just really wanted to call out, first off, thank you, Tiffany and Jessie, for always handling these meetings and being the center of this community. I appreciate both of you to no end, and I know the community does as well. So this is one of our most thriving communities because of all the work you two do and everyone who supports you, but specifically the two of you for sure. So thank you for that, number one. And then number two, I wanted to give a special shout out to Jessie because what she's underplaying about being able to launch that agents microsite is it is the first time that the three divisions of Microsoft have come together on a product adoption scenario. I know that seems silly, but if you've been around the Microsoft ecosystem for any period of time, you know that we very often ship our org chart. And for the agents conversation, we felt it was really important to be able to bring all of the different products together in one place. So whether you are going to be thinking about agents from a Teams and Microsoft 365 perspective, whether you're going to allow some of your users to use Copilot Studio, or whether you're going to go the full route and do some real custom work in your organization with Azure AI Foundry, you'll be able to find all of that content on that AI Agents Hub. That is a really big deal for us on my team. And, Jessie was at the center of that firestorm of information, trying to get everybody to share their information so that we can continue to keep that site curated and updated. I know that for many of you who are still working on kind of the initial, what is Copilot and how do I get my users to use it and the differences between free and paid and all of that agents are kind of maybe far out for you, but they won't be soon. I can guarantee you that they're going to become more and more front and center in conversations, especially as we publish more from Microsoft and other suppliers and vendors publish their own into our agent store. And so that's going to be very much like the Teams app store was something for you to govern. Then the agent store will also be that. They're actually merging together between the apps and the agents. So I just really wanted to give a shout out to us being able to get that done. And it was a pretty big achievement on Jessie's part. So thank you, Jessie, for being able to get that done for everyone. And I love the feedback here that I'm seeing in the chat. Always lots of good information for ways we can continue to improve and simplify the content and, just do everything that we can for you. I will mention one other thing too, which is we know that you would like some simple cheat sheets for different things, including the scenarios, including different user roles and things of that nature. And, frankly, the tech has been moving so quickly that it's been pretty difficult to do that outside of small to medium business. But it is in our backlog. We do aspire to get some simple things done. And I think that that's going to be very important going forward. So, ladies, because of my technical difficulties, I missed the beginning of the meeting. Did you talk about Team GSD and show that page already? Or should we do that together now?
We did not. We can definitely do that.
Oh, we should 100% do that. Let me move you over
I
here.
did talk about it.
Did you show the page?
I did not show the page. But
well, let's show everybody the page. Come on now. That's the fun part. If you'll bring that up, I'll do a little narration while you go to ak.ms Team GSD. So here's the thing. With all of this change going on in the ecosystem, at the end of the day, we believe that people just want to get stuff done. We believe that is, one of the things that people can agree on because, some of us, like all of you, care more deeply about the technology, the different names and the capabilities because you're trying to train people. But folks who are just out there with their jobs, they don't care. They just want to get things done. And everybody has a little bit of a different way of getting something done. And so what we've done is started this campaign that we're going to continue for now, at least through December, called Getting Stuff Done. And they're very short task-based videos of specific things. We just announced this at the Microsoft 365 conference. It just started now. We have these short little videos. They're in 2 different playlists right now, one around Microsoft 365 and Copilot, one around security. But this is not just about Copilot either. You need to get stuff done in Excel, in PowerPoint, in regular Teams. And what we really want is for people to make their own videos, right? We have a structure for this so that people can post them on their own social channels and submit them to us. If they make it into one of our official playlists, they get some cool Microsoft swag and what have you. And what's coming next is a kit of tools that will allow you to run a getting stuff done campaign in your own organization. So it's kind of a type of gamification and a way of getting people to share their stories, right? The most effective way that people learn is from other people they actually trust in your own organization. You know, my team, we can talk about this all day long, and certainly people appreciate what we have to share, but what they really appreciate is when somebody that they know and trust from their own company says, oh, you're still doing it that way? Well, I do this, blah, 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 blah. And it works so much better, right? And some people who are champions in your own organizations will really want to share these stories, and you can share them on your internal Yammer or on the SharePoint page. I saw some of you were creating SharePoint pages for some of the Copilot Q&A and FAQs, which is a great idea. And so we're working on the kit so that you can run a Get Stuff Done campaign in your own organization. So we call it Team GSD. We do have kind of a structure for the way that we're producing the videos so that they have a certain rhythm to them and they're predictable and short. It's all about them being short, because some people will watch a 10-minute video or a 30-minute video, but a lot of people won't. They just want to get something done in that moment, and they need a piece of content that will help them figure something out. Like the other day I was on whatever social media platform I was on, and people were talking about Planner. Like there wasn't any good one-on-one content for Planner, which somehow I had missed. And so, we'll have a playlist on that, but you might use it differently in your organization. So you want to focus on your Team GSD, but all of us need to get stuff done. We're excited about this campaign. I'm excited to see what other people create with it. And so stay tuned. We will be rolling out that kit for folks. We'll let everybody in the community here know. We'll keep talking about it and showing highlights of the great stuff. And we're going to be taking some of our existing trainings and cutting them into these shorter videos as well. We have a large Copilot control system, a couple-day webinar series coming up, and there's going to be getting stuff done for IT Pro out of that. We're going to be doing a series, another webinar, actually, a day-long webinar on security for Microsoft 365 admins, and we can do GSD out of there. So it'll be for end users and power users, but also admins and people building agents. So we all need to get things done. We're excited about this campaign, and we're going to run it for a period of time so everybody can kind of get in the swing and get to be a part of Team GSD. I will say I have a bias for Team GSD because that is the acronym for my team, because we're small but mighty and we get a lot of stuff done over here. And I actually, Jessie, don't know if you've seen it, but if you go into any experience in Microsoft Teams that you haven't been in a while, like I went into the community tenant this morning, there's a new splash screen that says Copilot is your hub for getting stuff done. Wonder where they got that idea from. So anyway, good ideas are around, but it really comes from all of you and all the feedback that all of you have given to us about the intensity and the fatigue of all the brand changes and everything. So we really want to get the focus back to people being productive and creative and curious and learning new skills, and this is how we're doing it. So I wanted to share that with all of you and give a shout out to the team. I know we're going to take a little break for the summer at some point here, and yes, the team does get vacations, but they are spectacular, and I appreciate them, and I appreciate all of you and your feedback. So keep it coming. I think that's what I had, Tiffany.
Great. Let me Go back on. Again, I really appreciate you, Caruana, for coming on, as well as Jessie. She is a Wonder Woman. Sometimes I wonder when she sleeps. And I realize that she works at night too. So sometimes I'm like, you're awake? So that's how she functions, because again, we're
which
small
means
and
you're
mighty.
awake, Tiffany.
Yes, I do stuff at night too. Sometimes I function better at night. So that's why it's quieter. But yes, I've realized that, yes, our team is super amazing. We do so much. And again, and I also saw the guest stuff done too. And I thought, hey, did we get snatched our name or something? but no, it was all good. Well, while we have you on, Caruana, I'm going to navigate forward. Take control. So while we have you on, Caruana, I wanted to preview for you coming on next month. So let's stay to presenter. Hopefully that will go forward. I wanted to preview for you coming on next month, where you're going to be talking about I believe you said SharePoint agents.
Yes.
SharePoint agents, as well as, let me go there. SharePoint agents governance, and then you were talking also getting more into that Get Stuff Done campaign. So wanted to preview that for everyone. Alrighty. And then with the last couple minutes, want to remind everyone of the upcoming community events. We have currently this week in Germany, the European Collaboration Summit. We have 2 Community Days events in Mexico, as well as Madrid, Spain. If you don't know where that is, you should visit communitydays.org. And if you don't have already, you can always be basically submitting your event for a co-sanctioned event as a Community Days. And then we can also promote you in the proper channels like this meeting today. In addition, we also have the European Power Platform Conference in Austria, as well as TechCon 365 Seattle, where you can meet Jessie and myself and Heather and much more of our team, and basically be part of our community, as well as also see very many sessions. So again, if you wanted to see other Microsoft events, as well as a list of community-led events, you can also find this at communitydays.org. Alrighty, so moving forward, again, that's our next topic for next month, where Caruana will be coming back on. Make sure you share your feedback with us today on our feedback link right here, aka.ms/Microsoft 365 Champion Call Feedback. Again, if you wanted to see certain products, certain things being demoed, I look at that almost after every call, and especially during the month when I'm trying to source, different product folks to come on. So definitely let us know your needs and wants, or whatever you would like to see there, as well as let us know your feedback. Even if it's not nice, we definitely want to hear it and just be able to improve. You can join the Driving Adoption community, where you can talk to your different colleagues, as well as ask questions, and then you can also invite others to become a champion today. So all right. With that, I think that's all the time we have for today. Really appreciate you all, as definitely engage with us all in the Driving Adoption community. Thank you. Have a good rest of your month. Appreciate it.